All right, this is one of the introductory lessons for music production, and this is on using loops and changing volume in GarageBand. In this assignment, we are not going to use a template, so you don't have to open Schoology first, but these are the objectives. So make sure that you're reading through the objectives as you go and completing each of these. All right, let's open up GarageBand. When you open up GarageBand, it might open you up directly to a song, or it might start you in your files. All right, regardless of where it starts you, I want you to navigate to your files and click on this plus sign to start a new song. Today for our song, we are going to start by selecting a drummer track. All right, now, if you have not already downloaded sound packs, extra sound packs from the sound library, which is right here, make sure you watch the tutorial on that and download some sound packs, okay? But we're going to start with our drummer track. If you download, the more sound packs you have downloaded, the more drum sounds and drum tracks that will be in your GarageBand files. Now, this is the drummer track, okay? And there are lots of different types of drummers. Jazz is like kind of trap. We have electronic music, all right? These drum beats are okay, but I don't think it's the best way to produce drum beats on GarageBand. So we're just opening this to navigate ourselves to what's called the timeline view. Now, you can see the timeline view is up here in the corner. It's very important that you know how to open this. Now that we are in timeline view, this is actually showing you music in real time. All right, as this cursor moves across the bars. All right, that is where you're hearing music. So you just follow along with that cursor. Wherever that cursor is where the music is playing. These little waves are a visual representation of music. Now, what we are doing today is we are experimenting with samples or loops. So we're not playing our own instruments, and what we're going to do is we're going to go up to this loop browser, and this is where I want you to try to find a drum track. So we are going to first click on Instruments, and you're going to choose All Drums. Now, if you want to further simplify or filter out, I want you to go to Genres and pick a genre of music that you like to listen to. For this one, I'm going to choose hip hop and R&B. And now, as I look through here, look at how many drum beats we have. All right? It doesn't really matter right now if it's yellow, blue, or green. I just want you to use this to find a drum beat that you really enjoy. I'm going to scroll through a couple of these and pick one out. All right, I'm a fan of this Ascension beat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it into my track. All right, you see I'm holding down and pulling it into my track. And as soon as you get the first drum beat that you like, I want you to click and delete that first track. So now we have a drum beat we like. You see I've pulled it all the way back to the number 1. A lot of times I see students, they pull a drum beat in and it looks like this, where it's only halfway through. When I play my song, nothing happens. All right? So that's the first thing, is pulling some kind of drum beat in. Now, if you want to layer drums and add more on top of that, you can always play this drum beat, and you can click on something else to see if it sounds cool on top. Actually sounds pretty cool. All right, so I could add that if I wanted to. All All right, but for this assignment, we're not really worried about adding any extra drum beats. It's not an essential part of the assignment. So once you have the drum beat you like, whether it's one or a couple layered beats, the next thing we're going to look for is a bass sound. Now, for our bass, I'm just going to change my instrument, not my genre. It is okay if you want to try mixing genres. So you might have a hip hop beat mixed with dubstep or funk or jazz. That's totally cool, and oftentimes that will sound really great. You're allowed to do that on this assignment, but to start out, staying in the same genre is often quite useful. So now I'm going to play my beat, and I'm going to look for sounds that sound cool, bass loops that sound cool with that. So up here, I actually really like this Altered States sub. So I'm going to, again, drag that, hold it down, drag it in. I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to go all the way to the beginning of the song. And now I have a Altered States sub bass. All right, for this assignment, you're going to add one more track. So choose a different instrument. Okay, I'm gonna go for some strings, and I'm gonna try doing something different than hip hop and just see if one of these fits. I actually like the way that sounds. So I'm going to pull that in. Again to the beginning. Now I have 3 tracks. Now the last thing that you need to do is you need to alter the volume on at least one of these tracks. Right now, I feel like the strings are way too loud. If your piece looks like this, to change the volume, you just need to open this tab. So I'm going to bring my strings down while I'm listening to the song. And I'm going to bring my bass up a little bit. All right. And that is the end of this assignment. All right, so what's required is that you have a drum beat, some sort of bass, and one other instrument on your track, and you show me that you've altered the volume. Now, you can either send me a screen recording of this and post it to your assignment, or you can get the checkoff list signed by a teacher in class and take a picture of the checkoff list. All right, thank you.